wasn't nervous because, you know, you was hoping that every time we went in the corner and mashed the brakes, the pedal was still going to be there and not laying in the floor. But it, just a weird thing. We'll look at it when we get back. But we've had a lot of gremlins. We slipped the clutch a lot. We had the clutch slip in the race a little bit. We had it slip in practice. But, and this car's done that before. We changed everything. But
I know. Over there.
It's a good time out here. Fun race. Qualify like junk. Got to get better. It's me. It's not the car. But once we get into the race, I can kind of figure it out, you know, and start to learn. I think if you'd have dropped us anywhere in the top 5, we probably could have finished there. When everybody decided to really give it everything at the end, we all had about the same amount left. And there wasn't much really you could do. You weren't going to drive by anybody inside the top 8. But it was fun. Everybody running, some running the top, some running the bottom. What a great racetrack. You know, you just got a lot of different grooves. And I know that there's some people out there that don't love the tire saving part of it. But honestly, man, I feel like I ran about 85% at the minimum tonight. You know, we slowed it down quite a bit there in that 150 laps at the end, but we still ran pretty hard. I don't think I could have ran faster. If I tried harder, I could have beat the car up a little bit, but I don't know that I could have really ran a lot quicker. And it's kind of a chess match. You don't know how, you think you're saving enough, but are you saving as much as the next guy? And is he saving less or more? Or, you know, there's some guys behind you that are going to come flying up through there later in the race. It's kind of fun. And so, I don't know, I like it. But it's fun inside the car because you're trying to figure out who's doing what. And you're watching guys in front of you. Are they slipping? Are they loose? Are they starting to give up? Are the cars giving up? And do I need to start working harder and try to drive by them? It's fun. I like that. And anyways, I thought it was a great race. The 400 is, felt like a bigger race, a bigger event than last year. So Steve and his team are working hard to try to really raise the profile of this race, and I think they're doing a good job with that. I know that the car count was pretty good, not as good as last year, but I think we were running longer, 250 laps. It's a lot of laps and a lot of tires. You had 2 tires for practice, 2 sets for practice and 2 sets for the race. So, I mean, 4 sets of tires for any team in the late model ranks is tough. Some guys were spending what they spent on a couple weekends racing at home. But I think it was a good show, so I had fun.
What happened there on the backstretch with Tristan McKee?
I thought you'll tell.
There was no replay. I didn't see it.
Well, so I thought I gave him a lane and a half. You know, it was early in the race, and I was when I powered up off the corner, I powered up low, straight off the bottom, and was like, I'm giving him plenty of room. I just want to stay here low on his inside, but I don't want to let him get down in front of me. And after spinning Cox out last year, I was trying to be careful, and I felt like I gave him a lane and a half. And we come up off the corner, and then he kind of turned left. I will say that it's easy to do. You know, he may have a different point of view, or I haven't seen a replay. If I squeezed him against the fence or against the dirt up there, I don't know. But when you get up off of turn 2, there's a natural reaction as a driver to steer left a little bit, just to give yourself, because the track kind of comes left. There's a little bit of concrete out there, and you can run up on that, and it's unnerving, but you kind of work left as you head toward turn 3. So I can see why he might have did what he did, but I really felt like I kind of gave him plenty of room out there, and I was worried that they're going to send me to the back, because they said in the driver's meeting, no matter what, if you have contact with somebody, you're going to the back, even if it's not your call. But I guess they saw the replay and didn't think we needed to go to the rear, but I was ready for it.
Last one I got for you is the biggest crowd pop I think I've heard today is you took Stephen Nasty 3 wide and the crowd went wild. Yeah. You were digging, you were going for it.
Yeah. I mean, they got I don't know, we had a crate motor in, so we had the built motor here the last several times I've raced. The crate motor's way down on power, trying to figure out the restarts, because I got my butt kicked on restarts every time for a while tonight. And then finally I started to time it right, and I timed that one really good. I had such a big launch on him. By the time we got to turn 1, we were pretty much even, I felt like, door to door. So it was a bit of a dive bomb, but I felt okay about it. I felt like he saw me and he was aware of what was going on around him. I'm not sure Zillage or whoever was out there on the outside was aware, but you know, I raced Nancy a lot, and we rode saving tires a little bit together there, and it's kind of cool seeing some of the super guys come down here. I mean, he's a snowball guy. You know, he's one of them big boys that runs the big events on the supers. So it's kind of cool when they come run with us and run their late models. And he said, I talked to him a little bit this weekend. He said he's having fun doing it. He ran with the car store a little bit. He says he's going to do more next year. So all that's good. I hope we'll see some other guys do it. Josh Williams, you know, was here this weekend. So it's like you just don't know who's going to show up. So some good surprises and a lot of fun was had. But you know, it's time to go on them restarts late in that race, and you're trying to get everything you can and see if you can drive your car up into the top 5 and see what you got left on the tires. And when you get a chance to go, you got to go. And a couple times I stuck it in there 3 wide and it didn't work. You know, we got the bad end of the deal a couple times, but it's a fun race. 250 laps is a lot, but it's and a lot happens. You get yourself into a lot of different scenarios and situations, but it was good.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
Good to see you.
Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
How do you feel physically after this race versus somewhere like Homestead where you're just completely exhausted?
Good. You know, there's a lot of red flags and a lot of opportunity to have the break and get out. And, temperature's not hot. I mean, I think if it was really warm in the middle of the summer or something, it'd be pretty tough on the cars, drivers. I ran hot a little bit. The car ran hot. I think we might have had some issues if they ran this thing in the middle of August or something.
Well, what was your reaction to the bad accident on the backstretch of the car that flipped over? What was your reaction to that?
Well, I was frustrated because I thought it was avoidable. Me and the 7 got together, and I felt like it came down. I wasn't sure. I have to look at a replay, but I come off the corner, and I think I gave him enough room for his car and a little more, you know, and I was pretty conservative with my line. It was so early in the race, really wasn't trying to drive the car up out to the outside of the corner and drive into his door like that, but I'm not sure exactly how he sees it, but he ended up, I guess, being able to continue. I'm not sure how much damage he got from that, but I know it ended up sending one boy upside down. I don't know how that happened.
And Dale, the first thing you said when you climbed out of the car was, that was fun.
Yeah.
You know, you've been doing these late model stock races. Where does just having fun rank on the
having fun having fun is the first thing that you got to do. You know, having fun. I know that sounds silly, but like, you know, I spent my whole life trying to be as good as I possibly could, and you know, being so competitive, you'd almost make yourself miserable about results and, you know, where you were on the practice chart. Every dang time you ran a lap, you wanted to know how it measured up against the field in practice, qualifying, and in the race. And you do that your whole life, and when you get out of that week after week sort of routine of chasing a lap time, you finally are like so relieved to get out from under that pressure. You put the pressure on yourself, not from other people, but you put the pressure on yourself to live up to this expectation that you think you're able to achieve every weekend to go to the racetrack, especially as a cup driver. And so to finally get out from under that pressure, right? And you're like, man, I don't have to worry about. I mean, I'll miss racing, but I don't have to worry about trying to measure up to what I think I should every week. Well, so when you decide to get back in a race car for a couple times a year, you have to tell yourself, like, don't get competitive, don't get it miserable, don't make it miserable. All these people that are here for fun. Marty Langley and all these guys that come to help me this weekend, they don't want a miserable driver, moping and mad, kicking dirt because he qualified, 26th. So you got to, shake all that stuff off. It's disappointing. And yeah, I mean, we don't love running 8th. 8th was good, but we'd love to be top 3, battling for wins. But yeah, having fun and trying to keep it light and making sure you don't try to get too competitive to where you're back into that grind of, you know, always being a little disappointed, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to do that.
Do you catch yourself falling into that?
Yeah. It's easy to do it. Yeah, it's very easy to do it. I mean, honestly, qualifying was pretty damn disappointing. I try not to let it bother me, but it's hard not to let it bother you. You want to do better, and it shouldn't be that hard. And, you know, you go out there and run a lap, and you're like, shit, you know, how are those guys making so much time? I got basically the same car as Carson, and he ran a 70, right? So I'm a big chunk of it, right? What am I doing, and what do I need to do different? Hey, how are you?
Good, buddy.
Good racing?
Yeah. Just trying to have fun with you there.
I know. I had good time. It was good. Yeah, I was kind of used up on some restarts, did it wrong lane, you know, car sway in front of you, stuff like that. It was fun.
This year.
Hey, good job on the driver's intros and all that.
Thank you, Dale. Appreciate that. Can you tell the folks at Race 22 what this track means to you and why you want to run it so often? And how do you feel as a representative of the grassroots short track racing community?
Well, I'm happy to be that. I don't, you know, I ran here a lot in the 90s, like 95, 94, 95, and 96, I guess. And so I always told myself I was going to come back running my late models, and I probably should have came back years ago and did this, but I procrastinated and worried about getting my butt kicked and how that would feel and whether I'd be okay with that. And then, unfortunately, sadly, they closed Myrtle Beach, and that was a bit of a kick in the rear. That was kind of like, all right, if you're going to go do this, you got Florence left. I raced here at the beach, right? And so we ran Friday night here at the beach on Saturday, and I thought I better, if I'm gonna get to it, Florence is only one left, so I better come have some fun. And so that's why I run here the most. I mean, I am curious to run some of the Cars Tour events, but it's just I got to prioritize my family and other things going on in my life too, so it's kind of tough to really, if you want to do it, you want to do it right and have time to get the car ready and feel like you got the people coming with you that can help you make it fast. And you know, so it's I ran 4 races this year. I thought 3 was probably going to be my number, so I overachieved a little bit, but I think 6 would probably be the most you'd ever see me run. And I'll run the Icebreaker and this race, and then the Darlington Week race here. So that's 3 races right there. And then I got to run Wilkesboro for Sundrop. So there's 4 locked in. And where else I can run maybe 1 or 2 other races somewhere during the Car Tour season. But it's fun. It's important. There's a bit of a resurgence in grassroots racing, especially the late model stock car itself. It's not a nation. The late model stock car is not a nationwide car, right? We don't got these cars out in the West Coast, and they don't run them up north, and it needs a lot of support to survive, right? Because it's such a geographically, how it's located just in the Mid-Atlantic region is a unique thing about this car. So they got modifieds up and down the East Coast. They got supers all over the country and pros, and late model stock car kind of lives in its own space, and if we don't really protect it and try to do the best we can to keep it healthy, the tracks are struggling, and it's hard for the tracks to compete when they don't have any car counts. Nobody's going to come around and watch small car counts. So looks like everybody had a reasonably good year, and looking across the board with all the tracks and the Cars Tour and everything we got to do with that, it's been a positive direction, so we'll see if we can keep going.
Thank you, Dale.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, Dale. You said earlier that the poor qualifying result was more of a you issue than the car issue. But when you aren't in the car every week, how hard is it to fix that and get into that rhythm to start qualifying better? So
I kind of battle back and forth between what I need to do, whether I need to race harder or race smarter, because I'll go out there and qualify, and I drove through the front tires a little bit, and I thought, well, if I could do it differently, maybe better, I would slow down my mid-corner speed and maybe drive a little bit, get in the throttle sooner and get off the corner better, and maybe that runs a tenth faster. And then I've watched these guys go out there and they're sideways and they're running a tenth faster than me, not hitting their marks at all. And I'm like, well, maybe I just need to drive it harder and like more like an idiot. But, you know, I don't know. I'm not saying that's bad or wrong. I'm just not sure exactly. I just need to do this more often if I'm going to expect better results. It's kind of like trying to get good at golf, but only playing like 6 times a year. You know, you're going to be frustrated more often than not. But in the races, in these long races, like 125 laps or more, I can sort it out, and they back up to me, you know, and I can sort it out.
And what more did you think you really needed there at the end to have a shot at the win?
We fought tight in the middle all night. I know a lot of guys were real tight riding around them guys at the end. We were just real tight through the center. We made some changes in the brake to fix it, but I think we just hurt the drive and didn't really hit the middle. So you can't hurt the drive here. It's so slick up off the bottom. You got to be able to use the throttle, and we hurt ourselves a little bit there, but still a good car.
Is there any? Your buddy Matthew Dillon went up to Greenville Pickens. Try a petition to save that speedway. Is there anything on your part you want to do to try to save that as well? A piece of history in NASCAR?
Yeah, I mean, I do whatever I can. I'm not sure what the possibilities are with that racetrack and where, you know, I'm not sure exactly what efforts need to be put into place to actually get results, right? And Matthew would be a good person to talk to, but yeah, if there's anything I could do, I promise you Matthew's going to call me and go, hey man, I know you'd love to do, I know you'd love to see this place get going. We'd love to have the cars tour there. Yeah. You know, we'd love it to be back on our schedule. I'd go race it. You know, it's a slick old wore out flat track like this one, and it's right at my alley. But I guess if Matthew thought that I could help, he would reach out and let me know how.
Dale, one more question. You said earlier that the late model stock car kind of has its own niche in the Southeast. Now that you are a co-owner of the car store, is there any possibility in the future that you guys could expand into a broader scale and maybe bring late model stock cars elsewhere?
The only way we would be able to do that is to actually start an entirely different, like a North Cars Tour series, right? Our guys are not going to travel outside of this sort of 3 to 6 hour window. So going to Langley's a badass racetrack, but we lose car count when we go 6 hours away, right? So I'd love to go to Nashville Fairgrounds and race, but that's an 8 hour ride, right? Hotels and all that. So you gotta, the series has got to live in a bubble, and it's not really going to function. If further you get closer to that edge and beyond that bubble, your car counts go from 30 to 22, you know, to 19, and people just can't afford it, right? They got to balance their ability to race and how they can take this amount of money and make it last the entire season and hit all these marks and run all these races, and so it's tough. So we're learning about all those things, right? And if we could figure out a way to get our purses up where it's affordable for our teams to travel farther, that would be probably the only solution to that. And we'd love to be able to do that. So we need to, you know, raising the profile of the series brings more sponsorship to it. All that goes right back into the series, and that's going to raise purses and make things more affordable for the teams.
Thank you, Dale.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey everyone, Dalton Hopkins here with Frontstretch.com. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and check out one of the 2 videos next to me to see more of our racing content.